Welcome into this week's Degrees of Science. A historic event's going to occur this spring across parts of the country where more than 1 trillion cicadas are going to emerge. This week, we're talking with an expert on cicadas, Dr. Chris Simon, a senior research scientist at the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at the University of Connecticut. Dr. Simon, thanks for joining us. Talk to us about this historic event that's going to occur.
Oh, thanks for having me on. This is a joint emergence of a 13 and 17-year cicada brood, and it happens maybe every 5 to 6 years that a 13 and 17 come out together, but it doesn't happen very often that they're close to each other or adjacent. These cicadas don't overlap, which a lot of people I've heard in the media saying they do overlap. They don't overlap, but they come very close to each other in Illinois.
Exactly how many of these cicadas were expecting to come out during this event?
Oh, well, many trillions in any one area. Sometimes they're light, sometimes they're heavy. So if they're heavy, you can have more than like 1 million cicadas per acre. And if they're light, then you'll just hear them singing in the tops of the trees. A lot of the places down south, they're fairly light and fairly high in the trees.
So how exactly does it work that some cicadas come out annually and then you have these periodic cicadas that come out as well?
So the annual cicadas, they also take more than 1 year to develop, but they're not synchronized. So the offspring of any one female of an annual cicada may come out in 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years. Those are typical length life cycles for annual cicadas. With most of them coming out in the 4th year, but a big bunch in the 3rd year and a big bunch in the 5th year. And so it seems like that they have a 1 year life cycle, but they don't. They have longer life cycles. The periodical cicadas have an exact length life cycle, and they're all synchronized. They all go into the ground at the same time, and they all come out of the ground at the same time.
So how long is this event expected to last?
They'll be out for about 4 weeks for a full emergence. So during the first week, they'll start coming out of the ground, and most of them within a few nights of each other, the males a little bit before the females. But they'll be relatively quiet until they harden, and then people will start hearing like a background noise, and then they'll get louder, and then during the 2nd and 3rd weeks of the emergence, they'll be mating, and then during the 3rd and 4th weeks of the emergence, they'll be egg laying. So about a month.
Do these periodic cicadas always come out at exactly 13 to 17 years, or can that vary some?
Yeah, well, once in a while, we'll see emergences 4 years early or sometimes 4 years late, but mostly 4 years early because the climate is warming, and the warming climate makes a longer growing season. So if you have a longer growing season, they have more time underground to grow, and they'll reach maturity sooner. But they don't all come out just straggling 1 year after the other. They come out in these 4-year windows because that helps protect them from predators, because they have this safety in numbers strategy. And so they might come out 4 years early, and then if they're not ready, they come out 4 years later, right on time when they're predicted to come out.
So cicadas are known to be pretty loud. Are we going to have any issues when you talk about this many cicadas in one location?
Yeah, if there are places where there are so many that I want to put in those foam earplugs. But if you just put those in, then that's usually enough that it's not a problem. Are there are a few super loud areas, and if people are very sensitive, they might want to go on a vacation during that week, the probably the week when it's the loudest, or two, because they can get really, really loud.
So exactly where are these two broods of cicadas going to occur?
So the 13-year brood occurs from Maryland along the coast to down through Virginia, and then into North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, over into Mississippi, a little bit of Mississippi, and then Arkansas, up through Missouri, and through Tennessee, Kentucky, and then into central Illinois. And then the 13-year cicadas, which is, I'm sorry, the 17-year cicadas, which is brood 13, unfortunately confusing. The 17-year cicadas are in central Illinois up to southern Wisconsin and then over into a little bit of Iowa.
All right, since we're talking about 1 trillion cicadas coming out at the same time, is there any problems that these cicadas can cause, being this many of them?
Not really. The only problem you have to worry about is if you have small trees in your yard, you'll want to put netting over the tops of the trees because they can kill small trees by laying too many eggs. And this is mainly because the forests have been cut down, and so there's a lot fewer trees in the forest for them to lay eggs on, and so they concentrate on whatever trees are available. And the small trees, especially if you're near a forest edge, are attractive for the females. So you want to protect your trees by putting a little netting, and they're generally available at your local big box store and labeled as cicada netting.
So what kind of positive impacts do these cicadas have on the ecosystem?
They have an impact all the time. Underground, they're food for underground predators, and as they grow, the predators get larger. And so these soil predators are the base of food chains for lots of different organisms. And then when they come out of the ground, they're food for many other above ground organisms like birds especially, and small mammals, turtles, snakes, and even people, because native North Americans would know when they were coming out and they would collect them and preserve them, and it would be an important food source, every now and then. And then there's also the aesthetic value. I mean, this is an amazing event. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. It's really spectacular. It's fun to take your kids out in the evening when they're first coming out of the ground and they're crawling up the trees, and you can see them shedding their skin, and it's like the trees are covered in all these white flowers. It's just really fun.
Since these cicadas come out to breed and lay eggs, what happens to the eggs after the emergence?
Okay, so when in the fourth week of the emergence, when females are laying eggs, those eggs will take about 6 weeks to hatch. And when they hatch, they just the little tiny nymphs are only the size of a grain of rice, and they'll just launch themselves into the air. They crawl out, they lay their eggs in tree branches. And so the little nymphs will hatch, crawl out of the egg nest, and then they just jump into the air, fall to the ground, and then they climb down in because they feed on roots growing slowly, very slowly over the 13-year period, through and passing through 5 different stages underground.
So you're a research scientist. You've got a way that people can help y'all research these cicadas and also map them as well, right?
Definitely. There's a cell phone app called Cicada Safari, and you can download it for free. It comes from Gene Kritsky at the University of Mount St. Joseph. And so this app allows you to take photographs of the cicadas, and you have your geolocation turned on. And when the photograph is taken, it's automatically sent. Well, you have to okay it, but it's automatically sent to the University of Mount St. Joseph. You can also record and send a recording to the university, and they will verify that those really are cicadas by having a team of experts to look over the photographs, and then they'll post it on their Cicada Safari map. And we also have maps on cicadas.uconn.edu that's run by my colleague John Cooley, and that website also has tons more information, and people can listen to the different sounds of the different species and find out a lot more about the cicadas on that website, and they can follow the mapping of expert mapping teams that are shown on our website.
So are you planning on being out to study these cicadas during this big emergence?
Definitely, yeah. We have different teams. Our team is going to be covering the Southeast, and so we'll be traveling around through North Carolina, North Georgia, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama.
Well, Dr. Simon, thank you for taking the time to talk with me and sharing all this interesting information about this pretty unique event.
Thank you.